Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of our NASCAR Heat 5 career mode here on the channel. I hope you're all having a great day. Today we kick off the playoffs from the round of 16 from Chicagoland Speedway. An exciting first and opening round where we take on Chicago, Talladega, and New Hampshire before we eliminate 4 drivers going down to 12 as we've got the Dirty Mo Media Door Bumper Clear podcast colors on our Junior Motorsports number 8 Cadillac this weekend. Coming into the playoffs, we are the number 1 seed, and we come in 42 points above the cut line. The 4 drivers out: William Byron, Tyler Reddick, Chris Buescher, and Ryan Preece. Now, the points battle is super tight once you go beyond myself and Kyle Larson. I mean, it goes down to Carson Hocevar, and he is 3rd seed, only 16 points above the cut line. Junior Motorsports, our 3 cars take up the first 3 of the 4 spots available, of course, outside of Kyle Larson being there in between us in 2nd position. But this is going to be a super tight playoff run and battle all season here through these next 12 races. Of course, this is the 3rd edition we're doing of this custom playoff format, that instead of 10 races we have 12, which allows us to follow the typical playoff format that NASCAR uses, but instead of 1 race winner take all in the final 4, we have 3 races in the final 4, and whoever has the most points at the end of that final 4 round, well, they of course go on to win the championship. Now, we, of course, have still quite a ways to go before we get to that point, and we take on qualifying here from Chicagoland Speedway, looking for just a subpar run. We are not that great when it comes to Chicago, and another thing is, actually, this is probably not really going to matter, but this was my first race, actually, after I broke my toe, and that was on my right foot, so my throttle foot, and that wouldn't be a big deal playing games, but I actually raced on my wheel and pedal, so it wasn't really painful, but it felt weird until I kind of got comfortable with it, and I'm feeling a lot better now recording this commentary a few days after I've recorded the race. But yeah, we were racing with a broken toe here today, so we'll see if that plays into how I do. We qualified 23rd. If I do anything stupid, hit the wall, or finish really bad, my obvious excuse is going to be I broke my toe. That we just have to use that as our excuse. Chase Elliott on pole position over William Byron. Kyle Larson there rounding out the top 10 as you see the rest of the qualifying order. Of course, these positions surely are going to shuffle. Caruth down in the bottom part of the top 30, not very good there, as we had trucks and Amazon Prime action as well. And Isabella Robusto actually won on a road course at Mid-Ohio for the Truck Series, and as well the Amazon Prime Series. I forgot to show the finishing results from last episode, so we're going to be showing that as well from Daytona. So you got 2 Amazon Prime results coming right here. For Daytona, it was actually Derek Kraus that held off Ty Dillon, Brandon Jones, Jake Finch, and Ryan Truex in the top 5 to win the races. You see the rest of the order there. But after Daytona, of course, they were racing this weekend as well alongside the Cup Series from Chicago. It was Brandon Jones that picked up the win over Daniel Suarez, Ty Dillon, Jake Finch, and Justin Allgaier. Rounding out the top 20 was Jade Buford, and you see the rest of the grid there. And now it's time to focus in on some Cup Series action here from Chicago. It's hard to believe now. It is officially the beginning of the final playoff run that we will take part in this NASCAR Heat 5 career mode. 6 seasons we are into this career, and finally we have reached the last playoff run. The final 12 races as we get ready to go racing. Chris Buescher, playoff implications immediately. He failed pre-race inspection. He'll be starting at the back of the field. His RFK teammate, unapproved body modifications. Christian Eck is sent to the back, and there you see pole winner Chase Elliott. You see the playoff banners on the cars as well as we get ready to go green. Now playoff banners and spoilers on most cars except for the Fords and Hondas now as we get ready to go racing. Green flag is out, and the Season 6 playoffs are underway now. Chase Elliott, William Byron, Hendrick Motorsports lead the field to green. Highest qualifying non-playoff driver this weekend, the number 98 RFK Ford Mustang of Chase Briscoe, who has been on fire as of late, but of course still missed the playoffs. One of the RFK drivers in the playoffs being Chris Buescher, the other 3 all out of Eckes. Briscoe as well as the number 60 of Josh Berry as we're 3 wide into turn number 3 here with the 55 Tricon Garage driver of Taylor Gray as we exit turn turn 4 side by side. Gregson up there 3 wide on the far outside. Carson Kwapel, your Mid-Ohio winner just in front of us, did not make the top 30 in points, therefore did not make the playoffs. Of course, looking at the playoffs, I mean, below the cut line coming into this episode, Tyler Reddick, I think is a standout. I think he is going to do a lot better in the playoffs than where he's starting, because he didn't really pick up a lot of playoff points, and he didn't pick up a ton of regular season points for the standings and get some playoff points that way. But I think Tyler Reddick has an opportunity to do some good things with Trackhouse, and he immediately is showing some speed as we cross the stripe. Look at him go. Rajan Caruth has gained about 10 positions in 1 lap in the number 48 Overstock Cadillac. He is flying from 28th to 18th as we come to lap 3 of this race, as now we come to lap 5. Carson Hocevar going in the wrong direction. As you see, he's dropped to 18th position after being up inside the top 10, and we're right up to the back of our Junior Motorsports teammate. He won a few races in the playoffs last season, didn't quite make it to the final 4, but here he is going in the wrong direction early on from Chicago. 2 wins on the season for Hocevar so far, as we'll clear him on the exit of turn 4. His most recent win coming in Martinsville, if I remember correctly, as Ty Gibbs has an early lead here in stage number 1. We already come to lap 9 here of this opening stage of 27. Green flag pit stops. We can go a good 20 laps or so on field, maybe just a little bit less now, as we are not looking so good early on, but we are reeling in Briscoe, who's dropped from 3rd to 17th, as well as Ryan Priest. Ryan Priest is just hoping to not have issues mechanically or through tire failures, and I think if he can avoid those, he could be pretty competitive. But keep in mind, we have Talladega coming in the next episode. It is a free-for-all. If you do not win today, it's going to be a free-for-all going into Talladega, and what the grid is going to, of course, shake out to be going into the elimination race for this first round with, of course, New Hampshire. We do have another super speedway later in the playoffs as well. In the round of 8, we go to Atlanta, so that one might be a little bit less crazy and therefore a little bit more legit. Car on the wall, caution. It's the 48. That was Rajan Caruth who hit the outside wall. Playoff problems right off the bat. Now, one benefit as the caution flies, as Caruth is still in the race, but he was absolutely flying, and now he is going to have to come in for some repairs. Everyone's going to pit for tires and fuel. We make some adjustments. I've brought down the wedge and also went up a click on grill tape. Andres Perez, for whatever reason, is staying on the racetrack. We gain 2 spots. Jesse Love gives up 8. A bad pit stop for the 81 Joe Gibbs team now, as Andres Perez will lead us back to green. He was so close to winning in the Daytona regular season finale, but of course we were able to instead hang on and get our 5th win of the season. We, of course, last season set a record high for my career of 7 wins in one season en route to our first championship, and we're only 2 away from tying that number. Can we win 2 of the next 12 races, or could we win 3 and set a new personal best? Now, as we're 3 wide down the back straightaway now, and that number 16 for Colleague Racing is stacking up everybody. There he is in the middle. You can see the rookie stripes up there on that black rear bumper on that Honda Civic. As now lanes all over the place. We're going to jump up to the outside. There's Connor Zilish there in the number 88. New colors on that car. He's got Click Lane on the side, Exalta on the hood, as we're 3 wide into turn 1, passing Perez now. Here comes Briscoe splitting the middle, as here comes as well the 17 of Chris Buescher. Look in the rear view mirror. Buescher, starting from the back after some inspection issues, has climbed his way very quickly into the top 15, showing, hey, there is some speed in that Fastenal 17. As for myself, I am struggling still, as the 81 is going to drive around the outside. Here comes the 31 Bass Pro of Brent Cruz, and as well, Rajan Caruth is back. Rajan Caruth, who just blew the tire, is already back into the top 15, passing me into turn 1. He says thank you very much, as Ross Chastain currently leads away as we approach 10 laps to go in stage number 1. And wow, what a action-packed first and opening stage. Some cars qualifying really poorly, absolutely flying. Someone who's gone in the wrong direction is the pole winner of Chase Elliott. He is going backwards pretty quick, so Elliott outside of the top 15 at this current point in time, not looking so fast in that 9 camp here as we exit turn 2, battling with the 31 of Brent Cruz. Now the 2 of Todd Gilliland just behind as we head into turn number 3, having a subpar race so far for him. Ryan Priest just behind him, as we'll clear the 31 on the exit of 4, but I wash up the racetrack. That opens the door for the 2 to get at my inside. He'll clear me into turn number 1 as we drop back down to the 16th position. position, and we just don't have the speed here from the Chicagoland track. So it's just not where I want this car to be. We can continue to, of course, adjust on the car in the pit stops and when we get a caution here at the end of stage 1, and hope that that will allow us to find a little bit more speed. But what my main issue was is just the simple fact the car was too tight, and I was having to be a lot more patient on throttle compared to some of these other guys around us who could just get on the gas and go. So as we continue to fight back, we do have some decent longer run speed as the tires wear. We do get a little bit better, and we're bringing the fight back to the 2 generator Ford Mustang Penske driver of Todd Gilliland. We both run down the 98 of Briscoe as we hit 3 laps to go in this first and opening stage, in the 45 of Ross Chastain, who missed the playoffs simply because of the fact that we, of course, had Joey Logano pick up a win, and then Ryan Preece with the top 30 in the standings, winning the Daytona 500. Otherwise, we would have had both Chastain and Heim in the playoffs. It's really hard to believe that Corey Heim is not in the playoffs with how solid of a season he has had. He has simply fallen victim to the playoff format as we come through down this tri-oval, cutting all the way to the grass with 2 laps to go, fighting still with the 2 and the 98 of both Gilliland and Briscoe. As we roll through 1, we clear the 2, cautions out. Stage 1 ends early, 2 laps early, and it's going to be the 45 of Chastain. Playoff drivers in the top 10 include Zilish, Larson, Logano, Carruth, Bell, Reddick, Gibbs, and Blaney. But the top 2 drivers, Chastain, Heim, non-playoff drivers, as we're taking a big swing. We're going down to 48.5 on the wedge, and we're going up to 50 on the right rear tire pressure, and we're going to hope that that's going to allow this car to just fire off better, as it looks like Brent Cruz has brought out the caution. I see him not pitting, which means his day is over, and here's the reason: he spins in the trial. Well, this is just behind us into turn number 1. Oh, that's going to be awkward as he has some big contact with the 34 of Jones and the 28 of Wallace as well. He's out of the race as we gain a spot in the pits up to P13. Overall, I mean, there's a bit of optimism, I feel like, in this 8 team here today. I mean, it wasn't a terrible stage, but it wasn't great as well. I mean, it's not up to the standard of this team. As we kick off stage 2, we've got 27 laps of racing from this 13th position. William Byron as well. I mean, all the guys that qualified up front, Elliott, Byron, Briscoe, all have not been running anywhere close to as good as they qualified here, as we're going to go 3 wide on the exit of turn 2 down this back straightaway. Not going to quite work. Here we go now. Here comes the 98 into turn 3. To my right rear now is Alex Bowman's coming up into the conversation as I clip the apron and go for a bit of a slide. They're, I think, just about 4 wide up there. They get it sorted out to just 3. Ryan Blaney right up against the outside wall to kick off this opening second stage here, as Kyle Larson's gotten up into the conversation now. He's to the inside of Ross Chastain for the lead of this race. Kyle Larson to the lead here in Chicago now. 3 wins on the season for Kyle Larson, second in the regular season standings, and he is looking to have a fire start to the playoffs now as we continue to fight with the 98 of Briscoe. He is not making it easy. He continues to ride on my right rear. We're still 3 wide. We've been 3 wide since the back straightaway on lap 1. A lap and a half against Briscoe and Byron, and none of us want to lift, especially the 2 playoff drivers between myself and the 24, as we continue to roll through 1 and 2, and it looks like we might clear the 24. Not quite. We're still 3 wide, beating doors there with the 98 driving desperately to try and clear these guys into turn number 3. This could be where we do it. Clear of the 98 and the 24, but it's short-lived as we wash up the track, open up the wheel on the exit of 4. Here comes the Ally Financial 18 Camry of Alex Bowman, runner-up in the championship in Season 5. He moves up into the 12th position. It's been a very quiet season for Alex Bowman. He does have the win, of course, from Michigan. He only had 1 win last season and nearly won the championship. He's already got his win for this season. Are we going to see a similar run from the Ally Financial driver as we continue on to settle into P13? And overall, we have had a better start to stage 2 compared to stage 1, but there's still some cars that are coming up through this field that are quicker than me. Bowman was one of them, and so was the 81 of Jesse Love. Jesse Love's first season at Joe Gibbs Racing has already equated to 2 wins. He, of course, had an incredible start with Richard Childress Racing in Season 5, and then that team kind of fell off a cliff after that. He won a race early on, but he got enough to kind of show did enough to show Joe Gibbs Racing that they wanted to bring him over and replace Chandler Smith, and I think it's worked out pretty well. 2 wins on the season, including Atlanta and Phoenix now, as we look to the inside of Joey Logano, who's starting to go a little bit backwards. But one thing that's happening for me is we clear the 22 of Logano. My right rear is wearing pretty quickly, and I'm actually getting quite loose as we've got a new leader of Corey Heim. So over these next few laps, as we're already approaching lap 20, I am starting to lose time now to the cars in front of us. So we've actually made the car too loose to the point where later in the run it's getting worse versus better than what it was earlier. So now I'm starting to slip and slide a lot on the exit of the corner. I said, okay, we got to pit a little bit early if possible, and Kyle Larson's now back out in front. But as we come to lap 18, I said, you know what, let's make our pit stop right in the next lap or so, and we can go, like I said, about 20 or so laps, but you can see actually we can go to about 21, but we're going to pit right here at the end of lap 18. Logano's running high. I'm not going to impede anybody, so we're going to come in a good 2 to 3 laps early. It looks like we've got somebody else up there pitting as well. I think that's the 54 of Ty Gibbs, as we're going to take 4 tires. I'm actually not going to change anything because we have only about 10 laps of racing left in stage 2, so we're going to keep the same adjustments in the car, and as we get back out onto the racetrack with a 15.1 second stop, we're going to make those adjustments to tighten up the car at the end of stage 2. So in that next caution is when we're going to make the adjustments for stage 3, because obviously there's no point in tightening up the car for not even a 10 lap run here when it fired off better than it did in stage 1. So everybody's flooding the pit lane. Now when everyone floods the pit lane, it's a good opportunity to gain position, and we did exactly that. We passed the 48, we passed the 45 who had poor pit stops, the 18, the 17. We are making really good gains. This should move us into the top 10 by pitting just 1 lap, 2 laps earlier than the majority of the competition. We're going to make some big gains. Ty Gibbs made some gains as well. There's Tyler Reddick. It looks like they're just in front of us now as we exit turn number 4. Less than 10 to go in stage 2. Bubba Wallace pulls off into the pits. Now we are returning to the lead lap, and we're actually getting some green flag pit stops and no stupid caution to, of course, completely change the cycle. As Jesse Love, we're going to pass him, but very quickly, after everything cycled out, as we're in P8, Corey Heim's leading, I am now dropping backwards into the hands of the cars behind, including the number 17 of Chris Buescher, the 18 of Alex Bowman, the 45 of Chastain as well. So we are going to have to fight for these final 2 laps to hang on to a top 10. Now here comes the 17 as we're slipping around there on the exit of 4. The door was open. Here comes the Fastenal Ford Mustang. Buescher knows he needs the points. He comes in, of course, not in a great spot below the cut line today, as him and Alex Bowman are going to fight. We drop down to P10. Caution is out, thank goodness, because there was no way I was going to hold off Chastain. I was going to score no points right there. Love, Caruth, Byron, as well as Logano all out to the top 10. Heim wins the stage, and both stages end under caution. Larson, again, the highest playoff finisher, as we do score that 1 single point here to help us out. Reason for the caution? Another phantom caution. I was looking, as you can see, I was searching both sides of the racetrack, the corners. I couldn't find anything. Again, we have had this weird trend lately of me not being able to find some of these yellows, but we pit for tires and feel. I've also tightened up the car, made a grill tape adjustment, and overall put this car back onto the tighter side as we'll go back racing here for stage number 3. The playoffs have been already off to a pretty fun start, and now we have the 3rd and final stage. 35 laps of racing underway now into turn number 1, following the Monster Energy Honda Civic Trackhouse driver Tyler Reddick, who's had a very strong day so far, as we're right to the back bumper of him. We're 3 wide down the back straight away now. Alex Bowman in the middle, Buescher on the outside into turn number 3. Kyle Larson, we're gonna have to watch out for that number 5. Larson's been getting a little bit closer to the lead throughout this race. Of course, he already has led some laps as we clip the apron up the racetrack. They're nearly into Chastain, who was leaning on the door of the 17 of Buescher to avoid contact with myself, and we drop down to the 10th spot now as we enter turn 1. And in my mirror, you have got a mirror full of Jesse Love. Joey Logano's ripping the top behind us, but who's not to be seen? Chase Elliott and Carson Hocevar. Those 2 drivers specifically are having some really rough days, and with how close the points are, you cannot afford a single bad race. There's only, I think, in my opinion, 2 drivers that can afford a bad race, and that's me and that's Kyle Larson. Nobody else can, and we're not having a bad race by any means. I mean, I know we're not living up to the typical standard of this 8 car, but we are running decent. We're running enough, good enough to, guarantee us the points that we need to put ourselves into a decent position going into Talladega, because you never know what's going to happen in Talladega. I mean, we saw in Daytona in the regular season finale in stage 1, Jesse Love crashes it right in front of me. I have nowhere to go. We end up collected in that one. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think Talladega is going to be such a wild card race, and that really emphasizes how important it is to win today if you're a playoff driver. As we're starting to trickle down the order, here comes Chase Elliott. Elliott's actually up here into the conversation now. He's back into the top 15 as he's passing me, and we continue to drop as Corey Himes actually taking the lead back from the 54 of Ty Gibbs. Now as I was continuing to plummet down the order, Eric Jones is going to pass us for 16th. Here comes the number 2 of Todd Gilliland as well, looking for the overtake. So things not looking so beautiful in this 8 camp here now as we continue on in towards these final 25 laps of racing. We dropped to 18th as Kyle Larson now takes the lead of this race, but fortunately these guys are battling right here in front of us, which allows me to stick with them. Chase Elliott still kind of struggling in that Napa Auto Parts number 9, and Elliott, I mean, he's got the 2 wins, but he's had such a rough season where he just doesn't have a lot of playoff points beyond those wins. So this is not going to be an easy season, an easy playoff for Chase Elliott, as he cannot afford running bad, and right now he's in 15th, which isn't terrible as long as he can put the rest of this race together. As again to the lead goes the number 11 of Heim, who just missed the playoffs because of the fact that he didn't win a race, and here he is. What would he imagine if we didn't have the win and you're in the playoffs? Corey Heim would be having a great start to the playoffs right now. So as we continue on, you know, even though Season 6 won't be on camera, it'll be a simulation that we do for the rest of the career mode to kind of finish the story. I think we could see an announcement soon that they'll be removing the win and you're in policy for the playoffs, and just simply, hey, if you're in the top 16, you're the playoffs. That's basically what it could be as we continue to work our way forward. Chase Elliott's now dropping back a little bit. He's been passed by me. He's been passed by the 2 of Todd Gilliland. There's just no speed. And that number 9 today is Kyle Larson's back out in front here. Now the 200 cars that are the fastest, clearly the 5 and the 48 today, as we're to the inside of Logano. Raja Caruth has had a flawless rebound, considering crashing into the outside wall with a tire down in stage 1. So he's putting himself into a decent position going into Talladega, but I say they're putting themselves in a good spot, but it's Talladega. Anything can happen, as we already talked about it, as we will pass the 22 Shell Pennzoil Ford Mustang. No, we won't. Logano going to fight back to my right rear. He, of course, is not going to make things easy. He's going to fight super hard for every single point. He was not in the playoffs until 2 races ago when he won his way in the penultimate round of the regular season at Denver Speedway. As now here goes the 2 of Gilliland to my inside, and we continue to kind of fight in this 14th, 15th, 16th areas. I'm sliding up the racetrack. Logano back to the inside. He'll pass us now, and I am desperate to get this number 8 back into the pits. This stage just has not worked out for us, and even with tightening up the car, it's just not working. So we're going to pit now. We're going to take a bit of a risk. We're coming in a few laps early once again. It's not going to be long till everybody pits. We're well within the pit window, 17 laps to go, and we're going to take 4 tires, and I didn't really know what to do with the adjustments, but I actually tightened it up just a tad bit because it was still sliding around, as you obviously saw there a few moments ago. So it's going to be 4 tires. It's going to be a 15-second pit stop flat, just 0.1 second faster than the first stop. But we have gotten 2 rounds of green flag pit stops to kick off the playoffs. This is awesome. This is what we like to see. I always love when we can get some proper green flag pit stops and just proper green flag racing, under our belt here now, as we're going to exit. And Logano's going longer than anybody, but only 1 lap longer. He comes into the pits. We well unlap ourselves. Please, no caution. There's only like 4 cars on track right now. We should be safe, as our part-time teammate Ryan Truex pulls off there right in front of us. That was close, but we come through down the front straightaway, and we officially are back on the lead lap. This is working out pretty well, as we're up to 20th now, and we might gain some ground. Here we go, passing the 24, passing the 2. We're going to have a little bit of an advantage on them, and as well, we're going to pull up right to the back of the 17 of Busher. We're going to pass him. So we've made up some ground by pitting a couple laps early once again, and it's hard to believe we've been green the entire stage so far, as unfortunately for me, though, Busher has run me down and already passed me back. Hopefully we can stick with him, but as this green flag cycle has run its course. We settle into 13th. Kyle Larson has gotten back to the lead as we are falling down the order again. Buescher has already driven away by over a second, and Todd Gilliland has run me down at this point as well as we go down into turn 3. Less than 10 laps to go. Will we stay green for the entire last stage? I don't think that's ever happened. As Gilliland passes me for 13th, we drop to 14th position. We might be able to hang on to the 14th spot. I am at least hopeful as we're actually coming up on some lap traffic here on lap 87. Engine gone for the number 2 of Gilliland. The caution not going to come out. We stay green as we gain a position, and most importantly, we gain a point right there. Gilliland's going to limp it back around into the pits as we'll go around the 21 of Austin Cindric. Larson's hoping, of course, no caution, please. Think about last season, how many times he got screwed over by no caution. Gilliland returns to the track a few laps later. We got more smoke coming to 3 to go. It's the 17. It's a playoff driver. Playoff implications into turn 3. Buescher having a top 15 run. Engine gone. It's going to be race over as he limps it into the pit lane. 2 engine failures in front of us in the last few laps, and no caution again. We stay green right to the final lap, and we gain 2 extra positions because of that. 2 extra points. Kyle Larson leads at the white flag, and it looks like he's going to kick off the playoffs with a win and go into Talladega with zero worry in the world as we exit turn 4 down this front straightaway as we finally are coming to the white flag ourselves. Here comes the 2 of Gilliland. Absolute devastation for a guy like Chris Buescher, who now knows he has to go into Talladega and run well. Easier said than done. Off of turn 4, Kyle Larson wins an entirely green stage 3. I think that's the first time that's ever happened in this career mode. The entire stage, green flag. Gibbs is in second as you see the rest of the field coming to the line, including us off of turn 4. P12 wasn't a flashy day, but we did what we needed to do in the Camping World 400, and I'm overall pretty satisfied with that. Kyle Larson, Gibbs, Chastain, Heim, Bell, the top 5. Lots of Toyotas up here again. Blaney, Reddick, Zilish, Caruth, Love, all these playoff guys up here. Chase Elliott in P16. The worst, of course, playoff finisher is, of course, the 17 of Chris Buescher, who ends up out in 38th. In front of Haley and Cruz. I think Haley was the phantom caution that I could not find. But looking at the playoff grid to follow the first race of this final season's playoffs, well, Kyle Larson, of course, is locked in now, and we actually entered at 42 points above the cut line. We exit at 42 points above the cut line. We did not make any gains, but we also didn't lose. Gibbs, big winners include him, as well as Christopher Bell, Zilish, and Blaney. They all found themselves 20 points or more above the cut line. And then Reddick on down. It's super tight going into a free-for-all at Talladega. Logano comes into that race 3 points out, 7 out for Byron. Ryan Preece did actually put a race together, top 20. No issues, 10 points out. Buescher with that engine failure, 25 points out. I mean, he gave up a huge margin right there in the final few laps because of that engine issue. Talladega is going to set the stage. It's going to be super tight on points. It's going to be a crazy second round of the playoffs. Some drivers that we expect to move on are going to have their seasons ended next week, I think. I'll see you guys in that next episode. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.